and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer and explorer. Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind. Talking about Justin Bieber.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy hump day, everybody. Happy hump day. How do we feel about that? The Ducks. Looks like the chat liked it. The chat was on board for the Ducks. Okay, let me take this off. Get you out of here. It's funny. Not much of a story there. It wasn't a big master plan of mine to start with the Ducks, but I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I think that's going to be a new thing going forward. Now I got to find the Ducks because I can still hear the Ducks, but I don't know where they are. That was actually pretty smooth, though. I wasn't sure how it was going to go with the intro today, and then I needed some Alex Jones in there as well. But the Ducks are quacking. I don't know where they are, though. I can't find the tab. So we might just be quacking the whole time here today. But anyways, there was that I swear to God, that video just popped up on my feed today. I was on YouTube this morning, and I saw a 5-hour stream of ducks in a pond, and I was like, okay, well, the universe is telling me something here. I feel like we need to work this in somehow, and I like it. I like it. Suns and Sunsets. It looks like there was some actual duck watching this morning. He said the white one is a bully. I did notice the white one. I only watched it for about, I don't know, 10 seconds myself. And then I was like, okay, this works pretty good. But where are the ducks? I can't find them. I swear to God, I don't know where they are. But they're still going in the background somewhere. Anyways, I guess we'll just listen to ducks. Hopefully you can hear me okay, though. Because yesterday when that other video was playing, it didn't, the sound was all muffled. Yesterday during our 3 of 5 hour stream. I don't know where it is. That's bizarre. I can't find the ducks. Oh well. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, or if I sound muffled at all. Because if I sound muffled, we're gonna have to figure out our shit here. What happened? I just got a big frickin' streaming down thing from Zapstream. What was that all about? I don't know. That was weird. I've never seen that before. You know, like confetti falling down? Sound is okay. Is it okay or is it good? Because it was okay yesterday too, but it was kind of muffled. Here, I'll see. I'll check it out right now. Oh, no, I can't. I have my Bluetooth hooked up. Frick. Well, I guess we'll spend 2 hours today looking for the ducks. I'll have to figure that out so we don't have to go through that again. I don't know where they are. But anyways, today's show is titled STRC is Destroying Millionaires. And I think it's going to be a good one today. I've been kind of thinking about this for a while now, and I figured today was a good day to talk about it, just based on everything that's going on. Saylor gave a presentation yesterday at the conference about Stretch. And so I just want to talk through a couple things and kind of share, you know, my thoughts on it. I haven't really talked about that too much because it's not really in my lane. But I think it's still kind of worth talking about in the sense of like, what does it mean? I'm obviously not going to tell you yes or no to purchase Stretch, but I'm going to talk about what it means and the impact it's going to have on us mostly. I think that's what the show is mostly going to be about today. What kind of impact is Stretch going to have on us? So anyways, okay. Josh said can't pick up the quacking over the Zap stream. Okay, good. Because I don't know where it is. We're struggling here. Let me see if I can just close all this. Oh shit. I gotta start Rumble. Damn it. Man, one of these days I'm gonna figure out Rumble. It's only been 2 months now we've been doing this YouTube studio here. And it still gets me. I still always forget to start the freaking stream. Obviously Rumble's here, but what's that? Degraded. What does that mean? Degraded what? Degraded. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna have to do a private show over on Rumble today too, because it's the second last day of the month, and I think I need like 25 more minutes of private streaming. So, unfortunately, if you're not a Castleman over in Rumble, you're gonna have to hop over on the other one today. But we're just gonna have to deal with it. You know, it's part of it. I've been loving Rumble actually. Oh, what happened now? Having trouble streaming to Rumble. Oh, it's probably no. It says broken link. Frick me. The Ducks might be a bad omen today. The Ducks might have been a bad omen. I don't know what's going on. I've never seen that one before. I've never seen this error. Are we still live over there? Yeah, but it might just be for it. Okay, well, I don't know what's going on, but anyways, we'll see how things go today. It's kind of stressful. I shouldn't be leaving my metrics till the end of the month, but I've been trying my best here. Anyways, what's going on today, folks? How are we? Yesterday was a long day for me. I actually went into I had to drive in the city after that 3-hour stream yesterday afternoon. But anyways, let's start with some Zapstream. What's going on there? Good crew over in Zapstream today. Holy man, we got Jake the Hick with a 33 Larry Bird Zap. Thank you, Jake. Joshua says, good morning, Noster. Aaron barked twice for being hungover and not caring today, eh? So I guess Josh had an early start yesterday with the conference, and it sounds like he carried on. So the king himself with a big zap today to start the day. Thank you, Josh. Bark twice for being hungover and not caring. I'll cheers to that. Whoa. Josh said, is it wrong? Is it wrong that this intro is making me miss being in a blind waiting to take a shot? You're hunting ducks? Remember the game Duck Hunter? That was a good game. Somebody should start that for on Noster. Somebody should start that on Noster. Oh, wow. Things are actually working okay over on Noster today. I just need to dashboard. Edit stream. Okay, here we go. Things are working on Zapstream, but things aren't working on Rumble. So if you were watching on Rumble and you just got cut off, I'm sorry. But doing my best. I'm doing my best. Moravian's here. Look at this. Moravian's like freaking 2 weeks in a row here. He's been in the chat with a double shot of espresso. Wow. Thank you, Moravian. Appreciate that. He says hello. Moravian, good to see you, man. Maria 2000, also known as Maria 5000, 2500, 10,000, 7,000, 8,000, and 9,000 is in the chat. She says, good morning, everyone. It is a great day. It's a beautiful day here today. Check this out. Check this out. Wow, you even got some clouds in the sky. I made a tweet yesterday saying, remember what clouds used to look like? Maybe they heard me and sent some real clouds my way. But kind of looks like a picture. Kind of looks like a painting. Anyways, we got Sats and Sunset says, lucky number 13. Yes, this is show number 13 of the new Reason to Believe. And this show focuses on two things. No, it's not even that. The show we used to do, Daily Bitcoin Journey, used to be, what was it? Actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and future Bitcoiners. But this kind of has a different twist on it, I'd say. It's kind of the same structure, talking about kind of the same stuff, but it's called Reason to Believe now. And it's based around modern stoicism mixed with hard money. For the sovereigns out there who are looking to be a little bit more sovereign, that's what the show focuses on. Maria with a zap, 1,000. Thank you, Maria. Also known as Maria 1,000 now. Wow. She's got all the bases covered. Plural, 21 with a duck. Thank you, Plural. Shani boy, Shani is in the house. He says, good morning, everyone. Great vid the other day with your AI conversation about the military and Bitcoin. Thank you, Shani. Shani actually sent a big zap, and I need to give him credit for that one today because he sent a big zap after the live stream. He couldn't catch the live, but he watched that video, and he sent a pretty sizable zap. It might have even been a flasher on Zapstream. So big shout out to Shani today. I got to update some points on the board for Shani. Thank you, man. Mark, Bob, Stewie, 65 sad zap 1650 with no comment, just a zap. Good morning, Mark. Joshua says that raid yesterday needed premium to comment. I know, I saw that after. I'm learning here. So we're definitely gonna have to do a raid today and a raid tomorrow. Otherwise, we're gonna be hooped for April, and that's gonna be tough because it's been a good month on Rumble for viewership. So we need to do two raids today and tomorrow. Nothing like leaving it to the last minute, eh? Holy man. But Conrad's here. Conrad with a Conrad's app at Reverse Tesla 963. He says, good morning. Remember, you are the soul that have a body, not the other way around. Shine bright. Bingo. Bingo. That's a great comment, Conrad. Remember, you are the soul that has a body, not the other way around. Shine bright. Yeah, humans really underestimate how freaking powerful they are, myself included. If people only knew what we were capable of, I think people would live a lot differently. I really do. But, it's part of it. That's why we're here every day, to remind people of that, to remind people how freaking special and amazing that we are and how lucky we are to not only just be alive, but be alive at one of the most exciting times, the craziest time, I would say, in history. People might argue me with that, but I don't think there's ever been a crazier, more exciting time to be alive than right now. You guys and girls who are watching this stream today are so incredibly fortunate to be here right now. You have no idea how lucky you are to be here right now. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because it's pretty easy to get down these days. But it's all about your perspective. Micah Lou. Good morning. Mark, Bob, Stewie's over there too on the Rumbles. Ginger's there. Jake's there. Praetorian sent an early morning zap this morning. What time was that at, Praetorian? I didn't check the time. I saw the zap though. Oh, we lost our tunes here, I think, because of Rumble. Looks like Rumble's still going though. I don't know how or why, but we are. So anyways, that's good news. How or why? But Praetorian sent, what time was this at, Praetorian? I saw some chats over in the tubes this morning from across the pond. From across the pond. Let's get to those right away here. I see them. Where was that? From Norway. Miro. From, he says, Quack from Norway. And Kong Mick says from Denmark. Look at that. How cool is that? How freaking cool is that? So, boys, girls, but that's it. If you haven't yet, consider, I'm not going to make you do it, but consider, if you want to be part of the conversation, this is the way right here. Very simple, but we'd love to have you over there. Okay, so this was at 7:30. Not that early, Praetorian. Praetorian, you must be back to work now, right? Says, good morning, Jor and Visionaries. Hope you all have a positive, productive day. God bless. Oh, wow. We got God bless and kind regards from Praetorian today. Thank you, Praetorian. And I see another one. In there. Who is that from? Another sneaky one before the show. But I missed some I missed some ducks over in Rumble today. Sats and sunsets. Jake's liking it. Sketchucation Rich says, well done splitting the G. Yeah, that was pretty good. I got to do that on Maple on Friday. The last 2 times I tried doing that on Maple, I failed. So the boys, I don't know if they'd be proud of me or ashamed of me, but I did it yesterday. Boys don't, the Maple boys don't enjoy bevies as much as I do. That's for sure. I don't know if they even, yeah, they must drink. I guess it's pretty early though for Forrest. Like the show starts at 1 p.m. for me. So Forrest would be 11 a.m. So yeah, that's a little bit early for a beer, even on a Friday. But Rajat has no excuses. Maria, look at this. That's who it was. Maria. Look at this nice comment from Maria. I don't even have to read it. She says, thanks for being here. No, thanks for being there. You're the best. Maria 5K. With 5,000 units of freedom from Maria today. Marco, duck laying some eggs. Lots of ducks in the chat today. Duck time. Yeah, I should get some ducks here. I should be like the lightning goats, except I'd have ducks. That'd be kind of cool. I need some water though. There's actually water right across the road here from me. There's in the spot in the trees there. You can't really see it, but there's water on that land over there. Probably get some ducks. Actually, it's funny. You know, I kind of grew up in these parts. My family has had a cabin here since I was born, right over there. But and then my grandpa, who was the auctioneer, he lived about 5 kilometers down the road, down a gravel road over here. He had horses, but he lived on a farm, and he had some sloughs, like a swamp kind of thing, some little bodies of water on his land. And I think he got royalties or something because Ducks Unlimited claimed that it was like a duck habitat or a duck sanctuary or something. So Grandpa was always very involved with the Ducks Unlimited. That's the organization. I think it's called Ducks Unlimited. So he always had like pictures of ducks. He had statues of ducks, paintings of ducks, because they gave him a lot of stuff for using his land as a duck sanctuary. So kind of cool. I forgot about that actually till I was driving by yesterday, and I was like, oh God, I remember that. And he used to do the auctions for the Ducks Unlimited. They'd raise a bunch of money for the organization. He was the auctioneer. So pretty cool. I like the ducks. That one's going to stick for sure. I think that's kind of our new motto mantra. Ducks fly together. In case anybody was confused about that, that's what the ducks are all about. Ducks fly together. I can still hear the ducks quacking in the background here. But Josh is over in Rumble. Good morning, Josh. Animal Planet Hacked 88 sats. Yes. Satster said, my kind of stream. All right, well, it's good. People liked it. I just got to figure out how to shut the freaking ducks off now. That's the next step in the journey here. How to turn the ducks off. And what happened to our tunes here? Why does it keep stopping? There we go. Okay, so good morning, Satster. Captain's here. The captain is in the house. 65 Sat says, Goose. My Gen X showing up in that one. I'd say our, is that Top Gun reference, Goose? I'd say our number one audience here is Gen X. We love the Gen X around here. Satster said, don't confuse the algorithm with the universe, but the universe can certainly influence the algorithm. That's a great point. That's a great point. Okay, who else we got here? Jenny's here. Jenny says, good morning. Is this the right place to hack Saylor and get all his Bitcoin? Oh, could you imagine? I'm surprised there's not more of a bounty for that, but he's been pretty careful. He's been pretty careful with sharing it, for the good or bad. I've been very critical of him in the past for not sharing his proof of reserves, but He's definitely looking after the golden goose, although they need to take self-custody of that. That's my opinion on it. They really need to get a. I'm sure they're working on it. Like if they're not, something is seriously wrong with strategy. But they really need to make sure that they got that shit taken care of. Yeah, it looks like we lost a bunch of people over on Rumble, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But the rednecks are over there still. I guess it's a redneck only show on Rumble today, unfortunately. Just the way she goes. Way she goes. But good to see you, Jenny. Good to see you, Jenny. Jenny, you didn't make it to the conference, eh? Duncan's here. Duncan says, good morning, everyone. Live for me. Okay, good. And you're spinning. Now you're back. I was spinning. Oh, okay. What's going on here? Sats and Sunset, speaking of metrics, streams that end with a raid don't show up as videos on your channel. I know. Well, that's not entirely true. So there's a bunch of different things here. And I wish you guys could see kind of the behind the scenes of what I need to put in place here before a show, after show, all this kind of stuff. I don't have a producer. I don't have any help doing this. So it's all me. But that's my fault. It's my fault when those videos don't show up on the channel, because if I don't delete them from Rumble Studio before I start the next one, I don't know. It doesn't really make any sort of sense. So basically what happened yesterday, Sats and Sunsets, I'm guessing you're referring to like the 3-hour conference live stream we did. So I did the stream in the morning and I forgot to delete it from Rumble Studio before starting a new one. And so that video from yesterday morning was still in the studio. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm sure you guys don't really give a shit. But that video was still like the video in Rumble Studio. And unless I delete that before starting a new one, then the new one that I started doesn't show up anywhere in there. It just goes away. I don't know why that is. I have no idea. But that's part of the Rumble Studio thing. It's annoying. There's a lot of things I need to go through for this, but it's worth it for me. It's worth it for me to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. But that's why. Look at this, Jerry. Jerry Loves Freedom says, good morning. Had Robin over at the house for dinner last night. Wow, that's freaking cool, man. You were sorely missed. I know. Don't remind me. But that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm guessing the Backpacker family was there too. That's pretty cool. Love Robin. Love Jerry. Love Robin. Love Jerry. That would have been. What'd you guys have, Jerry? What'd you guys eat? Oh, he said, I wanted to recap what I missed on Monday, but the vid isn't available on Rumble. Really? So I must have done that then as well. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Give me a couple more months. Give me a couple more months. Crypto Tony's in the house, one of our Bitcoin journeymen over on YouTube. Marco, that's Denmark, right? I think that's Denmark. I don't know. Rumble keeps pausing for me. I'm watching on YouTube today. Yeah, Nick, that's my fault. That's my fault because I turned it on to private. And so I guess but you'd be a member over there. I don't know. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I'm going to try this. I don't know if this will work or not, but Rumble. I'll see. I'll see if that works. I don't know. Save changes. Okay. Oh, no. Now I'm trapped here. Now I'm trapped. I don't know what's going on. Okay, now I can't get off of here. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm just going to delete it. Stressful. The Pearman. Habs fan. Wish you were over here, but that's okay. I wouldn't share any information as well. Sailor Smart. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it, right? Because I've talked about this a lot in the past. But like I'm thinking about people like me wanting to make sure that Strategy has their Bitcoin, which, as a shareholder, that should be something that, I deserve to see. But also, I know that they're not showing proof of reserves, and I still made the decision to purchase Strategy, essentially trusting that they have the Bitcoin, trusting the system. Is that a good play or a bad play? I don't know. But that's on me either way. But I do think that Saylor's thinking kind of decades out, not like what's in front of us right now. I get kind of guilty myself of looking right in front of us versus, down the road. And I consider myself more of a Sketchucation said, "Is the stream freezing for anyone else?" Frick, this isn't good. Okay, stick with me here, Rumble. Stick with me, please. Hopefully it starts working. Frick. But Praetorian says, "My apologies for not responding. We are super behind at work, super busy." No worries, buddy. No worries at all. No worries at all. Is Saylor's Bitcoin is Saylor's the Bitcoin? Is it Saylor's Bitcoin or the government's? Wow. Words are hard. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, folks. Duck, Duck, Goose. Oh, I got you. Duck, Duck, Goose. We played Duck, Duck, Goose too in school. Duck, Duck, Goose. You'd go around the circle and pat the guy. Duck, 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 Goose. And then I forget what happened after you said goose. You have to chase them around or something? You went the opposite. Yeah, I think the person who said goose, I don't even know how that's possible. Because the guy who says goose pats him on the head and then runs around in a circle one direction. The guy who got patted on the head goes the other way. I don't know how it's even possible for the guy who got tapped on the head to get his spot back. It's kind of like musical chairs. But yeah, I remember that. That was a good game. There's a lot of collisions though. A lot of collisions because they're running in the opposite direction. But the guy who tapped him on the head, he's got a huge advantage there because he's already on his feet. But I guess kids are pretty quick to get up. I think if it was a game of Duck, Duck, Goose for adults, there wouldn't even be a chance. But kids are pretty quick. Kids are pretty nimble too. So Jenny sent $5 on Rumble. She said, "Here's your bribe, Rumble." I wonder if we should just Rumble, just kind of keep me posted here. If it's going back, if it's going down, we might just have to end the stream early. Because again, we need to do a raid here. So I got 2 days left and I need 2 raids. Shit. Anyways, probably in May, I'm going to do raids every day just so there's no stress at the end of the month. I'm going to do a raid every day. I think that's what most people on Rumble do anyways. I'm just kind of new to this whole thing. In the 70s, well, we did it in the 90s still, Mark. Jared, oh, nice steak. What kind of steak? Ribbies, sirloins, T-bones, New York. What kind of steak? Okay, we're all caught up. We're all caught up. Nick said you try to tag them before they get back around the circle to your spot. Yes. And then if you don't get it, then you're the guy walking around like a dummy. Okay, look at this. We got Duncan's here. Duncan, the D in DCA. Duncan shows up with 3916. So that means that the price of Bitcoin is probably down a wee bit. A tad. Okay, Rumble, you tell me what you want to do here. Do we want to end the stream and do a quick raid, or do we want to stick it out? You let me know. We'll do it. The block height today, 947,163. We crossed another 1,000 yesterday. I forgot to mention that milestone. We crossed over another 1,000 blocks, 947,163. And F2 Pool was the winner of the block. F2 Pool was the winner of the last block. Captain said, if you end the stream early, we need another bonus show. Well, I'm going to keep going on. I'm going to keep going on YouTube. You'll just have to jump over there. But I was thinking we could just cut off this one if it's not working. If it's not working, I'm going to check it out myself here. It seems to be working fine for me, but I'm also a premium member over there. Like I'm watching it on my screen right now. It looks fine. Okay, Jenny says we'll stick it out. Okay, no problem. As long as you can hear me. It's intermittent. Okay. Well, I'm kind of watching it on my stream here and it looks okay. Like it looks fine to me. But I guess if people are having different issues, then that's a whole nother thing. Anyways, mempool. So it looks like we got what, 2 days left here on the difficulty? Yeah, 2 days. We're 50 blocks behind. And we got 357 to go. 2 days, approximately Friday at 11 p.m. We're going to have a new difficulty adjustment. So we'll see. A couple downwards adjustments here. It's looking like unless things really change, but I doubt it in 2 days. But that's good. Good news for the miners. They get a little bit easier time. The difficulty adjustment goes down. It's easier for them to find a block. The rewards are higher. Freezes, I just need to refresh. Does that from time to time, but today is bad. Okay. Yeah, something's sticky with it. But we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. I appreciate everybody over there on Rumble. Let me try this. Let me try this right now. See if I can. No, I can't. We'll get through her. Rich zapped 88 over on Zapstream. Thank you, Rich. Time chain, we're at the epoch number 5. Epoch 5. We got a block subsidy of 3.125 for the next 102,000 blocks. And then it goes down to 1.56 Bitcoin per block per 10 minutes on average. The exchange rate today, if you got $1, 1 unit of illusion, 1 unit of trash, 1 unit of the worst money in human history, you can trade that for 1,306 units of freedom, 1,306 units of sovereignty, 1,306 units of digital territory. It's like 1,300 acres in cyberspace for 1 unit of trash. So you trade 1 unit of the worst money in human history for 1,300 units of the best money in human history. I'd say that's a pretty good trade. We call that one the deal of a lifetime around here. And F2 Pool was a winner of the last block. For their troubles, they got the subsidy, the fixed amount, 3.125 Bitcoin, plus the transaction fees of about 2 million sats for this one. This is the variable amount, and the total reward being 3.1451. There you go. There you have it, folks. That's State of the Network today. That's the state of the network. So I don't know how many people here have tried Element before. I know a couple people ordered some recently, but this is new. This is their new summer flavor, Element, and look at that. It's caffeinated. First one I've seen from Element that's caffeinated. And it's lemonade and iced tea, which is Arnold Palmer, I believe. So these are pretty good. I put some ice in the drink today. It's kind of a good summer drink. And they actually sent this out to the people. I think whoever has ordered using my link, I think they got a free care package from Element with their new summer flavors. It was lemonade, pink lemonade, and this one, iced tea. Lemonade and iced tea, I should say. Pretty good. Jenny says too salty for my taste. No, you can't have enough salt. Impossible. So that's what we're drinking today. Wish I had a little bit of vodka. Then I think they call that, what do they call that one? The lemonade and iced tea is the Arnold Palmer. And I think if you spike it, I think if you put some vodka in there, it's called something else. But I forget what it is. I think it's another golfer. John Daly, maybe? I think it's John Daly, but I could be wrong. Anyways, let's keep it rolling here. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about stretch here. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about stretch. So I actually want to have a conversation here with Gemini, because this is something I've been thinking about for a while. This is the way I've been thinking about it for a while now, and I've mentioned it to people before. I've talked about it on the show before, but nobody really seems to, like, when you're talking, and I know I can't see you guys and girls, but like with Maple, with the BTC Mastermind, with a couple other people I've talked to, when you say something and they get it, and you can kind of see that look in their eyes and their reaction to it. Every time I've talked about this, nobody has really given me that. So they've kind of nodded and said, yeah, but I don't think they really understand what I'm trying to say here. And maybe I'm wrong about it. And so that's kind of why I thought that'd be a kind of a good place to start today. So we're going to have a conversation with Gemini here today about STRC. And again, this is kind of a theory that I've had for a while now. In my mind, it makes sense, but I kind of want to ask Gemini just to confirm with that. Because the people I've talked to about this, they kind of look at me, they give a little bit of a nod, but they don't really understand, I don't think, what I'm trying to say here. So I figured the best thing to do would just be have a conversation with Gemini about it. So the question I want to ask here, is my theory on Bitcoin and STRC. So the show today is titled STRC is Destroying the Millionaires, because how I'm thinking about that is there's 63 million millionaires. 63 million millionaires. That's kind of like the published amount. I don't know how many actually exist, but I'd say that's kind of the floor. 63 million millionaires out there. We know that there's 21 million Bitcoin. Most people know that. And so that means that there's basically, for every 3 millionaires, there's one whole coin. Everything else being equal. If nobody else owned anything, right? If there was no strategy, if there was no Jor, if there was no Sats and Sunsets, if there was no Jenny, each millionaire, for 3 millionaires, there'd be one whole coin. All else being equal. Nobody else owns anything. Obviously, that's not the case, but that's kind of like best case, is that every 1 in 3 millionaires will have one whole Bitcoin. And so every time that Saylor and Stretch take one Bitcoin off the market, that's essentially eliminating 3 millionaires from being able to own one whole coin. And really, I think this next transition, a lot of people are going to hurt. Obviously, I think nobody would disagree with me there. Right now, we're kind of at a place where the unemployment's going up because AI, soon to be robotics, are taking jobs. So unemployment's going up and inflation's going up, which means that people are going to have less money coming in, less income, but their lives are going to cost more. The groceries are going to cost more. Their energy, the utility bill is going to cost more. Everything's going to cost more. So that's a very dangerous equation for society. So there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. I really think that the biggest losers in this whole transition, though, are going to be millionaires. The millionaires who are ignoring Bitcoin at this stage, I think, are going to be the biggest losers here. Because again, billionaires are going to be fine. Billionaires have enough money that they're not going to have to worry about anything ever. That's how it is. Billions, much different than a million. So with that in mind, I think millionaires are going to be the ones who suffer most. So basically, the theory is that my theory on Bitcoin and Stretch is that every Bitcoin that Strategy purchases takes out 3 millionaires from owning one whole coin. This is based on having 63 million millionaires and only 21 million Bitcoin. Does this make sense to you? I got a couple of spelling mistakes here, but I think Gemini can cut it. Does this theory make sense to you? Let's turn on thinking. Most millionaires are only millionaires on paper. Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like I think they're in for a world of hurt. Okay, well, look at this. Your theory is mathematically sound and highlights the extreme scarcity of Bitcoin relative to global wealth. It effectively illustrates the musical chairs. Hey, we were just talking about DuckDuckGo. It effectively illustrates the musical chair's nature of a fixed supply asset. Here's the breakdown of why the logic holds up and a few factors that might make the reality even more intense. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. So the scarcity ratio here. And again, keep in mind before I go any further and start reading this, but everybody, I think most people know, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people know that there's only 21 million Bitcoin, 2.1 quadrillion sats. Most people know that, but they haven't felt that yet. They haven't felt true scarcity, a fixed supply. Nobody's felt that yet. We know about it. We know it's there, but it's just kind of out there somewhere. We haven't been through that supply crunch yet. The thumbnail in today's show is the Saylor squeeze, because eventually, mathematically speaking, this is going to catch up. This is going to happen. So the math you're using, it's actually a really clean ratio, 3-to-1. 63 million millionaires, 21 million Bitcoin equals 3 millionaires fighting over one whole coin. Again, if all else was equal, if nobody else had Bitcoin, if there was no BlackRocks, if there was no Satoshi, if there was no Bhutan or USA or China or Russia or me or you, there would be one Bitcoin for every 3 millionaires. So based on this, if every millionaire on earth decided they wanted to be a whole coiner, only 1/3 of them could ever achieve it mathematically. Therefore, when a corporate entity like Strategy buys a single Bitcoin to hold indefinitely, and I think that's a big part of it too, right? And that's how I kind of differentiate Bitcoiners too. There's a lot of people who own Bitcoin out there, but I don't consider them to be Bitcoiners. I think they're just kind of renting it, because when the price goes way up, they're probably going to sell it for fiat because they don't really understand what they're holding. And when it goes down, they're probably going to panic and sell it because, again, they don't know what they're holding. And so it's the institutions, the entities, the people who actually understand what's happening here and are not selling that Bitcoin no matter what. That's kind of like the main point of this that we need to focus on. So it says buys a single Bitcoin to hold indefinitely. The people who are holding Bitcoin indefinitely, those are the people who are going to really drive this forward. So they're essentially removing the possibility for 3 different millionaires to ever own a full coin in a perfectly distributed scenario. Exactly. But we know it's not perfect. So why the theory is actually conservative? While the 3-to-1 ratio is great baseline, the actual availability is much tighter. The lost supply, so we'll factor that into it. So it drops it down to 17 million. The HODL floor, so the people who are holding Bitcoin indefinitely, a significant portion of the supply is held by diamond hands or long-term believers who have no intention of selling, regardless of what the fiat price is. That would be somebody like me. Probably most people in the chat here today. Probably a lot of people who watch this video after. So that's the HODL floor. That's important. And then there's a corporate black hole. So when a corporation puts Bitcoin on its balance sheet as a reserve asset, that supply is effectively locked for a long term. So that's just not entities either. That's governments, that's pension funds. As this kind of ramps up here, that's going to be important. So unlike a trader, a corporate treasury typically doesn't sell for a 20% profit. They hold it for a hedge against currency debasement. So it says your theory points to a shift from individual ownership to corporate ownership. As strategy continues to vacuum up supply, the remaining fraction of Bitcoin becomes more expensive for the remaining 63 million millionaires, and mathematically impossible that they'll all have one. So eventually eventually being a whole coiner won't just be a matter of choice. It will be a mathematical impossibility for the vast majority of the world's wealthy. Shifting the goalpost. Look at this. Shifting the goalpost to owning 0.1 or even 0.01. That's bananas. That's bananas. And shout out to Jerry. I don't know if he's still watching the stream or not, but that's something that he always talks about, which is you should be doing everything that you can to get to 1 million Bitcoin. Or sorry, 1 million sats. or 0.01 of a Bitcoin. So today you can buy that here in Canada for about $1,000 Canadian. Could you imagine that? This is basically saying that the future, or the current, I should say, the current wealthy, the current elite, the current millionaires of the world will probably at some point be fighting over 0.01 of a Bitcoin or a million sats. So that's why I say, like, there's so many Bitcoiners who are so caught up in watching what the fiat price is doing that they're not really paying attention to the math and the inevitable aspect of Bitcoin's design. They're focused on what it's worth today, what it's going to be worth next year. It's like, who cares? It really means nothing at this point. And what strategy is going to do, and what BlackRock's going to do, and what the governments are going to start doing, is they're going to, I mean, they've been doing it for 17 years now, trying to convince people not to buy Bitcoin. They're trying to scare people away from Bitcoin because I'm pretty sure they can do math. And with an asset like Bitcoin, where nobody can forcefully come to your house and take it from you like they could with gold or land or cash or anything like that, they have to play a different game. And so they have to essentially trick the average person from buying Bitcoin. And so here's the other thing too, is like a lot of millionaires were just average people. They were average people before they became a millionaire. And a lot of them are really millionaires because of how much money they printed, right? Like a lot of these people would have a house, stocks, pension, and they've all seen those assets go up in the last 10 years just because of how much money they printed. They're not really that much more valuable than they were. They just see it on paper, a paper gain. They're a paper millionaire. And so what this is saying basically is that if you can get to 1 million sats, you're essentially going to be ahead of these people right now. And again, this 17-year negative marketing plan against Bitcoin has been pretty successful, honestly. It's kept a lot of people away from purchasing Bitcoin because of the FUD, because of the Epstein coin, which is the stupidest, craziest thing that I've seen yet. The environmental FUD, the only used by criminals FUD, the quantum. That's their only technique here to make people not buy Bitcoin, is to lie to them. And they've been pretty good at it. So you think about like the paper millionaires, they're essentially millionaires, but they're still just average people. They're average people who benefited from lots of money printing. And so they kind of see the same stuff. They think Bitcoin's bad. And so they're, I think, the ones that are going to be wiped out of this. And the other part of it too is because they've kind of gotten used to this lavish lifestyle of being a millionaire, a paper millionaire. And now they're going to have to come to the hard reality that because of their ignorance, stubbornness, laziness, they're now kind of left out of that class. They're not part of the elites anymore. And somebody like me, somebody like you, has the ability to take their spot essentially in the musical chairs, or the game of duck, duck, goose. So I'm glad that Gemini kind of, I didn't look that up before. I kind of figured it made sense in my head. But again, I wanted to ask, because the people I've talked to about this, they didn't really seem to understand what the hell I was saying. So every Bitcoin that Strategy buys wipes out 3 millionaires. Just really, really think about that. Really comprehend that. 3 millionaires out there. Every one Bitcoin that Strategy buys, it wipes 3 of them out from owning one whole coin. So, I mean, that tells me two things here. The millionaires are going to suffer, but the average people have the ability to take their spot in the musical chairs, take their spot at the game of duck, duck, goose. We have the ability. $1,000 right now. And if you can somehow get to one whole coin, you're going to be in a league of your own pretty much. I don't think that people understand how rare and scarce it's going to be for somebody to be a whole coiner. And that's the crazy thing, is like most people think that they need to get to one whole Bitcoin, otherwise it's not even worth trying. That's the crazy like narrative, the discrepancy here, is that most people think that they either need to get to one whole Bitcoin or it's not even worth it. But the reality is that owning one whole Bitcoin is going to be so incredibly rare that it's not almost not even worth trying to do that. Like if you can get to 1 million sats and hold on to that for the next 50 years for your family, that's it. That's literally all that you need to do. If you do anything on top of that, great. But if you can take $1,000 Canadian or $700 US or $650 euros, pounds, and get to 1 million sats and hold on to that, I think that's a key. Hold on to that, be part of the people who never sell. You're good. That's it. That's all you need to do. Everything else is just kind of on top of that. Again, people want to use Bitcoin to retire. They're hoping it really goes up so they can use it in the next couple of years. But if you're just like solely doing this for your family, I'd say all you need to get to is 1 million sats and hold on to that for the next couple decades. And you're going to have much more purchasing power and wealth than some people who have mansions and pools and fly on private jets today. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I really just wish that more people understood this. But you got to protect it. You got to have the conviction to hold. You got to have the knowledge to secure it. And you got to keep adding value to the world. You have to keep adding value to the world. Otherwise, that balance is going to go down. No matter what you have today, if you're not providing for the world, if you're not getting something back to be able to keep that, then it doesn't matter anyways. So that's that. That's the kind of three things we talk about in the Visionaries community. In the new course we're doing is the conviction, the security, and the ability to earn more money so you can keep what you have. So I'll throw this in there. Next week's going to be, I'm going to do a little live webinar next week. I'm going to do a little live webinar as kind of show zero for our new course that we're doing. So hopefully people can make it for that. I'm sure a lot of people here will be there. But I just put the link in the chat there if you want to join, if you haven't already. And if you're watching this later, I'll put that in the pinned comments. So just understand what's going on here. And kind of as this whole transition plays out, you want to have the ability to communicate, chat with, get ideas from, make sure you're not missing anything, right? Like we're busy people. And it's almost impossible to scan through Twitter and Reddit and YouTube and spend a bunch of time trying to figure out, is there any threats, any additional issues, any concerns, anything I should be watching out for in Bitcoin? But if you have a community of people like the Visionaries, they got your back. If there's something, somebody's going to share it on there. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for you to go to. So you're not wasting all of your life looking for things. It's kind of all in one spot here. So it's just the value is incredible. And again, 100% money back guarantee. If you feel like you didn't get the value that you paid to be in there, no questions asked, 100% guarantee. And I'll even send the refund back in Bitcoin. So consider if you haven't yet. Next week's going to be the go time. So we're going to do kind of like a full webinar on YouTube. I was going to do a webinar on here. I actually have the ability to do it for 1,000 people on StreamYard now. But I don't really care. I'm not somebody who's going to collect emails and start, sending you spam. I'd rather just put it on here, show what it's all about. Then you can kind of make up your own decision. I'm not going to be bugging you. So I think that's the right thing to do. Jake said the John Daly. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, my friend. The John Daly, the JD. Okay. So let's, there's a little bit more I want to talk about with that too. So that was kind of like the STRC is destroying millionaires part of it. The other part of it too is like Saylor's taking a lot of shit, and I'm definitely not going to sit here and defend him, but I think people are really missing the mark here of what's going on. Like, I don't know how many people, let me know if you watched yesterday's speech that Saylor gave. Rumble, it seems like things are pretty good over there, right? Like I'm still watching the show here on my end with the chat, but it seems like things are running good over there again. Damn, that's freaking good. That's freaking good. That's very refreshing. But yeah, the presentation that Saylor gave yesterday I was on the road, so I was listening to it while I was driving. But as soon as I heard him talking about digital credit, I was just like, "Fuck, Saylor, I'm tired of this. I want Saylor back. I want the Giga Chad Saylor back, the guy who's talking about Bitcoin, not about his product." But I get it. I get it. Like, honestly, STRC is an amazing product. There's a lot of people out there who call it a Ponzi scheme, and I don't think that could be any further from the truth. You know, it's people are comparing it to Solana and staking and getting yield on an FTX, and it's just like, I don't think you understand what's happening. And I could be wrong here. Like, if Saylor actually doesn't have the Bitcoin, then yes, that would be one of the biggest Ponzi's or scams in history. But I'm going to go under the assumption that Saylor actually has the Bitcoin. And if Saylor actually has the Bitcoin, then STRC is definitely not a scam or a Ponzi or anything like that. And I'm definitely not going to tell you to buy any because I don't hold any myself. STRC is not for me. But even during Saylor's presentation yesterday, he made it very clear. He had a couple slides on it, I think. But he said, like, if you got capital to hold for, I think it was 4 to 12 months, that's where STRC comes in. He said, if you're holding for longer, like a 10-year frame, that's Bitcoin in self-custody, hopefully. But he said, you want to own the asset. You want to own the commodity. So Saylor knows, like, again, I don't think he's trying to trick people here. I don't think he's trying to trick people into buying his products versus Bitcoin. And then he said, if you have a long-term lens and you want some, what did he call it? Volatility, or he's basically saying that if you want more Bitcoin, he said it in a better way than I did, then you hold the equity. So he basically said, if you're looking for a place to park your cash for 3 to 12 months, you buy the credit, digital credit, STRC. If you got a 10-year time frame, you buy the commodity, the asset, Bitcoin. And if you want more SaaS per share, if you want more Bitcoin and you have a long-term lens, then you buy the equity. So just in that sense, like, again, I don't think Saylor's trying to trick anybody here. I think that Saylor is just trying to take out the system, take down the system. And they've captured a very small percentage of it so far. Much more to come. The amounts, the numbers that he was sharing in that presentation yesterday were pretty insane. But it's all retail. I think a large percentage of it is retail investors. So, I mean, it makes sense for some. It doesn't make sense for me. I think you're stupid if you're owning STRC right now. Truly. If you understand Bitcoin, if you understand the implications, if you understand the potential, if you understand that there is no roof, there's no ceiling on Bitcoin, and you're holding STRC right now with a fixed 11% return, I think you're stupid. Be a little bit different if we were at an all-time high right now. Be a little bit different. I'd say maybe allocate a little bit over there if you need an emergency fund. But like at this exact point in time, I think that you're stupid if you're holding any stretch right now. Different, I guess, if you got some money trapped in the system, like if you got capital trapped in the system, that's a little bit different. But it's not for me. But I am happy about it because, you know, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing is that strategy is basically like, I don't know how to word this properly without sounding like, because when you kind of look at this from the outside, if you don't really understand everything that's happening here, it kind of seems like a Ponzi scheme. And that's why a lot of people, I think, believe that that's what it is. But like basically Saylor's taking fiat and he's buying Bitcoin with it. So he's creating a bunch of demand for Bitcoin. And there's these rumors of like, what would the price be if Saylor wasn't buying? I don't subscribe to any of that because I think that the fiat price is incredibly manipulated, regardless of what's really going on, regardless of what Saylor's doing, how much Bitcoin he's buying. At some point, that gets flushed out. Like it has to, mathematically speaking. At some point, that gets flushed out. But we're still kind of there right now. Today, this exact moment, we're still in a stage of heavy manipulation. I believe that's just my opinion. So do I think that the price of Bitcoin would be lower if Saylor wasn't doing this? I really don't. I really don't. And like that goes against economics to say that, but I also don't have any sort of trust in the system. So Saylor is basically creating this demand for Bitcoin. He's taking Bitcoin off the market. He's eliminating millionaires. And the people who are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of this are people holding Bitcoin in self-custody. Because you're going to get the upwards movement from that, from the same amount of supply, daily demand for this. And so Bitcoiners are getting the purchasing power increase. But Bitcoiners also have the freedom aspect of this. That's the whole thing here, right? Like that's the magic of Bitcoin. That's the superpower that Bitcoin has, is that when you have Bitcoin in self-custody, nobody can fuck with you. If you have Bitcoin in self-custody and you have those keys properly secured, geographically distributed, nobody can fuck with you. Like, I just don't understand how people are just kind of glossing over that fact. So you not only get the benefit of the purchasing power, but you also get to be fully sovereign with that. And Saylor is basically like creating that for you. So it's wild to me how many people are missing that, how many people are bitching about it. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why would we ever complain about this? So that's again, that purchasing power of Bitcoin. We could go to 100K, we could go to 200K again. I think it's all kind of just fiat games either way for now. We could go to 2 million. There's really nothing to say that we can't. I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. They're like, we can't do that. That could never happen. You're an idiot. But it's like, we have nothing to compare this to. There's never been an asset, a commodity, something like Bitcoin before, with a perfectly fixed supply and an ever increasing demand. We've never seen anything like that before. Probably land would be the closest thing we've seen to that. But the land here in my area is much different than land in Florida. The land here is much different than land in Russia. They're fungible, right? They're different. My land might be worth more than somebody in Russia. My land might be worth more than somebody at the Ukraine-Russia, intersection, because you can grow things on it. There's a river out here. There's trees that I could heat my home with. But it's different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it doesn't matter whatever sat you hold. And this is really how people should be thinking about it. That's why I love the land analogy so much. And that's what this whole course is kind of based around, is the fact that if you're somebody who's holding Bitcoin in self-custody, you basically, every UTXO in your wallet, that's essentially like a plot of land. So it could be a small plot. If you got 50,000 sats in a UTXO, small plot. You got a UTXO with 5 million sats in it, big plot. But the way that Bitcoin works and how you should be thinking about that is like, it's all kind of combined into one massive plot of land. It doesn't matter that one's 50, one's 5 million, one's half a Bitcoin. You bring all those together, just like you take pieces of land and put them all together and make it stronger. That's the same kind of thing, except for sats, for digital territory. So that's why I don't hold any STRC myself, because I think that it's stupid to be capping yourself at 11.5%, because the way that they're printing money right now, the way that they're printing money right now, that 11.5% might be a joke. If inflation's 20% and you sold some of your Bitcoin, or you took your capital that you otherwise could have purchased Bitcoin with and you parked it here, you're essentially, how could I explain this? You're essentially giving your dollars to Saylor for more dollars in a system that is imploding. So you're giving your dollars that you could otherwise allocate to owning the asset, the commodity, the sovereign piece of this equation. You're allocating your dollars there in STRC and basically giving him the dollars to buy Bitcoin, and you're asking for dollars in return. Meanwhile, that whole dollar system itself is imploding. And not only is it imploding, but they're printing more money. And not only is it imploding and they're printing more money, but you have to ask somebody permission to access that asset. And if something were to happen, which, depending on how big your tinfoil hat is, if something were to happen and all of a sudden all the records were lost of who owns what, I know what I own because I have a Bitcoin node right here. That's my truth of source, or that's my source of truth right here. But if that happens in the system, nobody knows. So you're taking a huge risk there by giving dollars to Saylor to buy Bitcoin so that he can pay you more dollars. So there's a couple different risks there. There's the financial system risk of just like it's done one day. Might happen, probably not. You're also risking the 11.5% actually being worse than inflation at some point here because they have to print more money to keep the system going. And as they print more money, inflation goes up. So inflation, they say, is like 2%, the biggest joke of all time. I don't know how anybody could take anybody seriously who actually refers to the CPI being like 2 or 3%. Real inflation is like 10, 15, 20%. Depending on what country you're in. Canada here, it's like 15, 20%. So you're basically getting 11.5% back, but inflation's going up around you, probably going to be higher, obviously going to be higher because they have nowhere to go other than print more money. And then you have the risk of somebody else holding that asset for you, relying on somebody else's ledger, trusting somebody else in this insane world. So it doesn't make any sort of sense right now where people are taking their dollars, giving it to Saylor so that they can get more dollars back. When you have this asset, this Bitcoin over here, that you could just put those dollars in instead. And you get all the upside. It doesn't matter if that whole system collapses. It doesn't matter how much money your government prints. And the best part is that you don't have to take shit from anybody. You can go wherever you want to. As long as you have your 12 words, you can go wherever you want to. So it's not even a decision to me. Again, I understand why Saylor's doing it, and I love that he's doing it. It's just that I think only fools are putting their money in stretch right now. Only people who don't really see past 10 feet in front of them. Because, yeah, it's attractive. 11.5%, of course. Versus what? Like 3%? 2%? Of course. But they're still playing fiat games. They don't understand what's happening here. They don't understand the risks of what STRC brings. Exactly. Forrest, what's up, buddy? Forrest Hoddle in the house. He says STRC also has variable rate risk. Yeah, it could go down. It could go up too, but it could go down. So it doesn't make any sort of sense in my head why anybody would be taking their dollars that they've earned or that they have and putting it into STRC. It just doesn't make sense. I know people are doing it. I'm happy they are, but it doesn't make any sort of sense to me. Bitcoin is what you want to hold. Bitcoin is what you want to hold. And honestly, if I needed cash in 4 to 12 months, I would rather just keep a little bit of cash. Unless you have like a specific deadline, and some people do, right? Like if you know that next summer you need to replace your roof, maybe that makes sense and you don't really want to rely on the volatility of Bitcoin. It could be higher, but it could be way down. If you have capital that you need to for something in the future, STRC might make sense in that scenario. But even so, I'd be like, well, okay, while Bitcoin's down, I'll just wait another year to buy a roof, to replace my roof. So I know there's arguments on both sides of it. I just don't really see, none of the arguments for STRC at this stage of the game make any sense to me. So that's kind of just my rant on it. Again, it's not good or bad. I love Saylor. I love what he's doing. I'm very thankful that he's doing it because he's wiping out these people who aren't paying attention to what's going on right now. The millionaires in this world who are just completely head in the sand, head up their ass, whatever you want to call it, he's wiping them out. And I don't know what's going to happen with strategy and the US government down the road. I don't know. And that's another component to it too. Is like, I don't know. I think about this a lot, as you guys and girls can probably tell. And possible thing here. People in the chat here, I know. I see who's here today. I know who's going to be, calling bullshit on this. But one thing that could be happening here, not saying it's gonna, not saying there's a high likelihood of it, but strategy. Eric Trump, who's actually speaking at the Bitcoin conference today, the Fed conference, the shitcoin conference. He's speaking there today, but he made a point about a year ago at a conference. He said that they've known Saylor for 20 years. So again, you tie in game theory with this. If the US was doing what strategy is doing right now, they would have got like a fraction of it because the world's watching. The world's watching the US government. And again, if you wanted to do this as a government, you wouldn't be able to do it because everybody else would say, hey, the US government, probably the most influential government on the planet, they're buying as much Bitcoin as they can. We need to be doing this as well. Right now, there's just kind of like this dance happening where, oh, maybe we have some miners. Maybe we have some on the reserve. Nobody's really seen it yet, but maybe we have some. That's kind of where we are right now. So I think that this is a possibility. Strategy could be a proxy for the US government. The US government itself has been forming a lot of alliances and relationships with miners where they don't actually have to buy the Bitcoin, but they can get the rewards from it down the road, kind of like a longer term sustainable strategy. And as AI and technology kind of takes jobs, you're going to need like a UBI. And what about something like Stretch? What about something that's actually built on something like Bitcoin that you can give to your citizens? So it's kind of a crazy concept right now because we're kind of in the middle of this, the middle class being destroyed because of AI, because of inflation, because of robotics. But what if like what's happening right now is strategy is a proxy for the US government. They're going to take that Bitcoin and they're going to be able to issue like a UBI. And meanwhile, they're kind of taking from the current elites. They're taking from the current millionaires of the world and doing this in kind of a really sneaky way. Because as much as a Bitcoiner, I'm like, well, everybody's kind of for themselves. I don't want a world where there's that much unrest. I really don't. I would rather be kind of like middle of the road, lower than like have to have a wall around my house because otherwise people are going to be storming the gates and killing me. Like nobody really wants that world. And I don't think people understand the implications of what's happening right now. So you do need some sort of a smoother transition. And I think that this could be part of that strategy. I don't know. This is just me talking out loud. Makes sense in my head, but that doesn't mean it's going to be reality. So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. Right or wrong, who knows? I see a lot of comments in here. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up. Oh, I missed a lot. I got on a roll there. I was rolling. Mark says, I'm in for the course. I purchased 2 MK5s yesterday for my multi-sig. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Grinder's here. Look at that. Noster legend himself, Zapstream legend himself. Grinder said, you're giving your dollars to Saylor so he can buy Bitcoin with your money. Might as well just take that money and buy Bitcoin yourself. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? But a lot of people would say, well, Grinder, I don't want the volatility. I need this capital in the next 6 months, and I can't really afford for Bitcoin to go down. That's the argument against it. But I'm with you, man. That's kind of what I hopefully got my message across today. But oh, Chuck, I missed this. Chuck says he said, "Good morning, Ducks," with 111. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen Chuck for a while. Mickey's up 21 sats. I figured, and that's the whole thing, right? Is like it's just kind of my speculation. It's just me thinking out loud. I'm not for or against it. Like, I'm not for or against it. I'm not gonna sit here and pump Saylor up and say, like, he's a god and that everybody should own STRC because how could you not? But I'm also not saying that he's a monster. And I think that it's just like anything these days. It's like it's very polarized. People are very left or very right. People are very for BIP 110 or they're very for Bitcoin Core. There's no conversation anymore. There's no ability for and one thing I've been hearing a lot of lately, and it makes a lot of sense, is that two things can be right. Two things can be right. 10 things can be right because everybody's going through a different experience here in life. Somebody might have listened to what I just said and thought I was an idiot because STRC, based on their exact situation, makes sense. And I think that that's what people are missing most in the world right now is like they think that that everybody sees the world through their eyes, that everybody is in the exact same circumstances as they are. And so if somebody disagrees with them, they think that they're stupid. And it becomes more and more polarizing. But it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. But again, when you have the money printer, the central banks, and the governments in bed with each other, and they basically fund this propaganda and bullshit, their whole game is to divide people. What we're just talking about, they're polarizing. They don't want people to be in the middle. They don't want people to be debating. They don't want people to have conversations. They just want both sides screaming at each other. One side screaming, I love you. One side screaming, I hate you. Either way, you're screaming, you're giving them energy. That's how they stay alive. That's their whole game. Who knows? Moravian says, have to drop off. Have to drop off. Have a nice day, guys. Thank you, Moravian. Appreciate you, man, very much. Thanks for being here today, and thanks for the support. Thanks for the support. I don't even have Arnie Boy's wallet up here today. Too caught up. There it is. Appreciate you, Moravian. Okay. How can I buy STRC in Canada? I guess I was at the start before I started talking. A lot of people I've talked to have that mindset of like thinking that they need to have one whole Bitcoin. So three millionaires, if nobody else owned any Bitcoin, they would get 33 million sats each. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Sats and sunsets, BRB, off to sell one of my shares of STRC. Ryan said STRC is ideal for someone like my mom, early 70s, minimal investment knowledge with my help. For me, no. Yep, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Exactly what I mean. And again, when I say I think you're stupid to be buying STRC, I'm basically saying if you're in my exact situation right now or somewhat close to it, then you're stupid. But if you're 7 years old and have no ability to use a cold card and actually take full ownership of your Bitcoin, then yeah, it's your best option. Because what's your alternative in that exact scenario? Your alternative is like money market, a GIC, a 2% return while the world's going to shit. You still have those same risks. You're just earning less money. So yeah, 100%. 100%. Brett said there are cases where STRC makes sense. There are cases where STRK makes sense, but I agree with the sentiment. Younger long-term investors should hold exactly gold Bitcoin, but not even unless they have a giant stack already. Like if I had a giant stack already, I wouldn't be buying STRC. I'd be buying land. I'd be buying older assets that aren't hooked up to the Palantir shit. I wouldn't be buying STRC. I'm out of that system, man. I'm out of it. Forrest said I was thinking about 10% a month into STRC or another preferred and then sell to pay taxes. This year I did not have close to enough cash. Yeah. And see that scenario makes sense to me. right? Because I kind of mentioned the roof replacement. But again, my point there was like, well, if Bitcoin's down, then I'll just wait a year and I'll get my roof next summer, right? But with a truly fixed deadline like that, could make sense. And if my roof's leaking, then I'm just buying the roof today. So I get there's so many different factors. It's Saylor's buying every new Bitcoin per month. Yeah, it's wild to see how much. Don't trust him or his products. You see, you don't have to. That's the nice thing is you can just hold Bitcoin. You can just hold Bitcoin. Ford said if the government buys out strategy for their holdings, MSTR shareholders are getting a massive payday, but good luck rolling into real Bitcoin since it would rip high on that news. So if the government buys out strategy for their holdings, oh, I see. Yeah. But good luck rolling that into real Bitcoin. Like basically you're saying the people who got paid? Yeah, right. Because you'd have a bunch of cash if you're an MSTR shareholder. You'd get the payout there if the government bought all the Bitcoin, but you wouldn't be able to do anything with that cash because of the demand for Bitcoin at that point. Yeah, fair. Very fair. Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting because, again, under that theory, then the US government would basically own. I don't know. I don't know how likely that is truly, but I don't think it's a 0% chance. Bitcoin only makes the most sense for me. Yep. And you definitely need cash flow. Gaylor. Oh, we got lucky here. Hold on. Maybe? No. Yep. There he goes. Chasing something. What's he up to? What's she doing, Lux? We'll keep an eye on him. These frickin' ducks are still. Oh, what's he doing? He's on the hunt for something. Oh. These frickin' ducks are still quacking in the background. What's he doing? So we started with ducks. Now we got cats. This is like a new oh, now he's just hanging out. Nice. Hi, Lux. This is like Animal Planet. Okay, sats and sunsets. We have to pay penalties in the US if we don't pay our taxes during the year. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you have a fixed deadline, if you're still filing taxes. Billy, Jor, please talk about how Bitcoin is stuck at this price when there's so much buying from the big dogs. I know not all about price, but I kind of care about it going up. Well, I spent a pretty big portion of the show. Well, I'm not really saying that, but Billy, my thoughts on it. Actually, we had a really good conversation on during our Maple Bitcoin happy hour last week about this. And kind of what I said is like, it makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to me that the price is just kind of being kept at this price. So in that sense, I'm saying that it's manipulated. People might argue that. Probably people in this chat will argue that, but that's just my theory. And the reason I say that is because we spent the whole show talking about how Bitcoin is scarce. There's a fixed supply of it. It's very, very scarce, but we haven't really felt that part yet. Everybody knows that there's only 21 million. 2.1 quadrillion sats. Everybody knows that. But knowing something versus feeling something and experiencing something is much different. So we're going to go through this part some point in the future where we really feel the scarcity. We're not there yet. But again, if you can do very basic math, the elites of this world, we'll just call them the elites. You could point to whoever you want to with that. But I think that everybody here would agree that there are certain circles, bloodlines, networks that, are pulling the strings above the politicians, above the Larry Finks, above the Donald Trumps, good or bad. They're not the ones who are making the decisions here. So they know that. They know very basic math. They also know that they can't stop Bitcoin. And so what do? They basically need to lie to the general population, to the average person, and tell them that Bitcoin, you need to stay away from that. Bitcoin's bad. Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin's only used by criminals. Bitcoin is Epstein coin. And I see this shit every day in my comment section. I see it. People really believe that Epstein created Bitcoin. It's fucking stupid, but that's where people are. And so the government and these entities and these elites, we'll call them, they've done a very good job of keeping the average person away from Bitcoin. Very good, very effective at it. So they don't really care what the price does, right? A lot of people think that they're keeping the price down so they can buy more. That has nothing to do with it. These people have unlimited amounts of money. These people have unlimited amounts of money. Unlimited. And there's this new thing called Bitcoin that has a truly scarce, fixed, limited supply. So what do? They don't care what the price is. They don't care if Bitcoin was 10 million a coin. They have unlimited money. So what they're doing, I think, keeping the price down, is trying to keep the average person away from it. Because if the average person started getting in on Bitcoin right now, that takes away their future supply. And there's about 99% of institutions and entities and organizations that can actually get exposure to Bitcoin right now. So they're trying to keep this price down as long as possible because they're trying to keep most people, the average person, away from it. Right? It's in line. They're like, oh, Epstein created it. It's down 40%. The narrative checks out. So my answer there is like they're doing it intentionally. I think it's manipulation. They can't do it forever though. And that's what makes the most sense to me. Otherwise, it literally makes no sense. People will say, well, there's always sellers. There's always going to be sellers. It's just the fair market. I don't think so. As soon as this is the one thing that I noticed. By the way, I forgot to say good morning from the Central University of Northern Toronto today. But this is where I think everything changed. As soon as because they kind of rushed that whole ETF, and it's not even the ETF that I'm talking about here, but and it kind of went under the rug. It kind of slipped under the rug. But when they gave the ability for people to buy futures on Bitcoin, I think that's where everything changed. And so I think that there's a ton of paper Bitcoin out there. I think that they can use the futures market to essentially short Bitcoin, because again, you have to understand what's happening here. You have to understand that if you have unlimited amounts of money, you can sell and drive the price down and lose money without giving two shits that you just lost money. Like, that's the disconnect here. The elites are very disconnected from us, and we're very disconnected from the elites. But again, when you have the ability to create money out of thin air, zero cost of production, you can sell all the way down. Oh, what's he trying to do here? He's after something. Must be birds. Man, that'd be funny if we caught him catching a bird. So that's my opinion. I don't know if that's wrong or right, but that's just that's a good point here from Mark. They're trying to get the OGs to sell. So I think that's another thing that they're going to do, is they're probably going to run up the price intentionally so that a lot of people who don't really know what they're holding, they're like, oh shit, I'm rich. Here you go, 5 Bitcoin. I made 50% profit, bought it 70K, sold at 140K, 100% profit. Idiots. And then they take those 5 coins, BlackRock, Saylor, US government, gone forever. No, Black Cat not crossed my path. He lives here. He's his name's Lucky, because that's the old narrative of black cats are unlucky. But we got a black cat named Lucky. Hey, Lux. So that's I don't know. Let price grab or fall for 3 to 4. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's actually amazing that they're doing this for us. It's actually amazing that they're doing this, because again, every sat that we have, every sat that you take and put into self-custody, it makes BlackRock weaker. Every SAT that you take and put into self-custody, it makes your government weaker. And every SAT, kind of what we're talking about here, every SAT that you take and put into self-custody, that reduces their ability to manipulate the price. So a lot of this is out of our control. The majority of it is. But the things that we can control are taking as much as we can, buying as much as we can, and holding that in cold storage. Not in strategy, not in stretch, not in ETFs, not in any of that. Taking it off, putting it into cold storage. That's how we win. And then unfortunately, there's not enough people talking about that, in my opinion. There's a couple. There's a couple people in the chat here who are talking about it. Like this guy. But for the most part, rather not. Yeah, the futures, and nobody was even talking about that. But they use the futures market to basically keep the price down. Because if you're looking 6 months out and they're shorting it, and they're like, oh, the elites think that the price of Bitcoin is going to go down. What happens? You're not going to go against that. You're not going to say, oh shit, they're wrong. They just have the unlimited capital, unlimited access to money, zero cost to produce the money. I'm going to bet against them. It sucks. It sucks. But it's it is what it is. What is stopping these financial entities from artificially suppressing the price into perpetuity, if that is indeed occurring? You taking your Bitcoin and putting it in self-custody. You selling your stretch shares, you selling your strategy shares, and taking the proceeds and putting it into self-custody. And, the other part too is like, as the bigger this market gets, as it goes from like a $2 trillion market cap to a 20 trillion and then a 200 trillion market cap, it's going to get much harder. They're not going to have the ability to sway the market like they do. They're not going to have the same ability to suppress the price. And the other thing too is if you take away their ability to do this kind of shit or print money, if governments if some countries start going back to a hard money standard, it pretty much eliminates their ability to do that, because the only reason they get away with all this is because they have zero cost to produce the dollars. Like it's sick. It's sickening, but it's reality. But that's the other thing too, is like the fiat games won't last forever. It just won't. So I don't know how long you're talking here, like a couple years, 10 years, but yeah, they're definitely going to do it as long as they can. We had a duck watch stream. Just go back and restart this episode. The first 10 minutes today, we had a duck watch stream. Yep, exactly. Wyatt gets it. They're trying every trick in the book to try to get hodlers to sell and to keep pre-coiners away from buying Bitcoin. Sester said, Bitcoin appearing cringed to outsiders is all part of the plan too. Yep. Yeah, exactly. There's this very negative stigma around Bitcoin. A lot of it's because of crypto, but a lot of that narrative was created by these people who fucked with crypto to make Bitcoin look bad. Again, they've done a one hell of a job. Like hats off. Hats off. They've really convinced people that Bitcoin's a bad thing when it's really the only thing that can save them. Like just imagine that. There's a couple things like that, like just massive discrepancies in reality. Like one narrative being that most people need. How can I say this? Probably the biggest disconnection of reality is that people think that they need to own one whole coin. When in reality, there's 63 million millionaires, 21 million Bitcoin, which means very simple math suggests that only 1 in 3 millionaires, current day millionaires, paper millionaires, can get to one whole Bitcoin. So people think that they need one whole coin, otherwise it's not even worth it. When in reality, anybody who has one whole coin is going to be extremely rare. Extremely rare. But that's the other thing too, is that most people think that Bitcoin is like bad. They think that it's used by criminals. not really understanding that their governments are the biggest criminals on the planet. And there's a reason why they've been tricked not to hold Bitcoin. They think that Bitcoin's harmful to them, and they have this really negative opinion around Bitcoin. And in reality, Bitcoin is literally the only thing that can save them financially. Spiritually, physically, you can do different things. But the only thing that's going to save the average person at this point is Bitcoin. Land would be the closest thing to that, but the only thing is Bitcoin. And most people hate it because they've had 17 years of brainwashing telling them they shouldn't own it. Why? Because the people who don't want Bitcoin to succeed are the ones who own the media companies who pay to brainwash people that Bitcoin's a bad thing. Like this isn't rocket science. It's just game theory. Right? Yeah, that's another thing too. Like people have Trump derangement syndrome. People have Bitcoin derangement syndrome. And it's the same people who have control of the world, have the ability to create money out of thin air, and they own the media. They own the media, and so they have the ability to brainwash people. Man, if you want to check out a full brainwashing campaign, holy shit. Go, I watched this last night. Where is it? You want to see how stupid people are and how brainwashed people are? Check this out. This is one of my favorite dudes here. Nick Shirley. He did kind of a full show on this. Is about what? 263,000 views 5 days ago. He's talking to people on the streets of Vancouver. Man, you will not see a more, it was tough to watch. Tough to watch. You will not see a more brainwashed group of people. This lady here, she is about right here. This lady said that we need more taxes. It's amazing to me how effective the brainwashing has been. And then you have everybody who's just, I don't know. There's even a lot of Bitcoiners who are brainwashed. They'll never admit it. But there's a lot of Bitcoiners who are victims of the brainwashing. And the crazy thing about brainwashing is that you don't really know that you're brainwashed. So anyways, man, I was going to do an hour show. Every time I say we need to start cutting the shows down, it seems like I just go even harder. So I think that that's what my new plan is. I'm going to say we're going to do some super long shows coming up here. We're going to do some super long shows here coming up. They're going to be the longest shows of all time. Sorry, Captain. How far are you from Niagara Falls? When visited Niagara Falls on the Canadian side, very beautiful. I'm pretty far away. If I were to drive there, it'd probably take me like 30 hours. But I might be going to Toronto. I might be going to Toronto for the Canadian Bitcoin conference. We'll see. I've been chatting with Forrest and Rajat about it. But I'd like to go there. I'd actually really like to have a Bitcoin meetup. We talked about this on the live stream yesterday. Doing a Bitcoin meetup in Vancouver. And I said I really wanted to make it like the Masters. The Masters in the sense of like you have it at the same venue every year, just like the Masters. They have it at Augusta. It's very private. It's basically invite only. I didn't mention that, but I think that'd be kind of cool to do. It's invite only. There's no phones allowed at the conference. And I feel like if you had something like that, you'd have a lot more meaningful, useful conversations, right? Like, because the Bitcoin conference is just massive now. It's full of feds. It's full of institutions. It's full of bullshit. And it's all streamed live on YouTube. So they can't really talk about what they want to talk about. And so I said, if we were going to have a conference, I'd have the same place, private, no cell phones, no cameras, just Bitcoiners hanging out and actually trying to make change, not just trying to, So who knows? We need some. We definitely need some financial support though. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen. But the idea was to kind of start with like 100 people. And then next year, if it was successful, go to like 150 or 200 and just slowly grow. And the reason why I wanted to do it in Canada is because if people are coming over from the US, it'd be like a 40% discount for them or 30% discount. Whereas if we had in the US, it's going to cost Canadians like 40% premium to do it. So I think Canada makes the most sense. Vancouver is probably the nicest place in Canada for tourism stuff. So I don't know. I'll have to talk to Forrest. He's out there. Run the SAT selector. New name. Thanks for what you do, Jor. Who the hell's that? Run the SAT selector. That's a wild one. White says, I have a black cat named Mystic and I don't feel unlucky at all. I'm a Bitcoiner. Amen to that. Amen to that. Paradigm. If you're hoarding Bitcoin, cool. Prices do not matter. But for everyday use, money, price matters. I use Bitcoin on a daily basis. You know, I do too. Or I did. I've done it a little bit less. I have more of a cash balance now. But you're right. I'm not going to argue with you there. But even if you've held Bitcoin, even if there's months where you don't get as much, you're still way ahead. Right? Like your purchasing power is still way ahead. So temporarily, like it's not just going to be something where it just goes up and all of a sudden, like you're the smartest person ever, forever. That's just not how things work, right? Okay. VHF, good morning. Troll shitcoiners with the truth. They get so triggered. Yeah, they are going to learn the hard way. That's it. That's all there is. Bitcoin derangement syndrome. Ben McKenzie. Amen to that. Old liberal white women are so out of touch with reality. And I have no idea why that is, truly. BitBilly, cheers, man. Hope that made a little bit of sense for you. Any noob who opened the Bitcoin conference live stream probably thought Bitcoin is cringe. Yeah. Both the, I mean, yesterday was better. They actually had some decent presentations yesterday, but like Monday was horrific. And if you go in the chat, in the live chat, it's just full of shitcoiners in there. It's kind of embarrassing. That's why I did that stream yesterday. I did a 3-hour stream just so we could have a place to like talk without people talking about BSV and pedocoin and Algo or Algor, whatever the hell it was. I don't know. It's too much. Josh G BTC live from Vegas. Good morning, Josh. Yeah, it's kind of early in Vegas. Hey, it'd be what? 9 o'clock? Same as Forest time. Good to see you, Josh. Okay. Well, we got to, I got to wrap things up here. So Rumble, we're going to stick around here for a sec. Just hang on. I really appreciate all the Rumble people for sticking through it. Hopefully the stream got better. Looks like I missed some things over in Nostra though. Plural Zap 13 for Lucky Boy. The cat. Wow. Is that a cat or a dog? Black cat. Sats Oil Series said, I found that orange pilling friends and families for far easier though through actual use of Bitcoin as money. And in just a few months with Sat Oil, I've already orange pilled 10 plus people. What a legend. What a legend. Good man. Sats Oil, good to see you. Sats Oil Zap 210 for the harvest, he says. Thank you, Sats Oil. And Kevin's in the house. He said, thanks for everything, Jor. And Zap 424. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Plural. Thank you, Sats Oil. And shout out to our friends over on the Noster. So good chat, everybody, today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, I'm going to be doing kind of like a webinar-ish. Basically, it's going to be episode 0. So for our new course, Digital Homestead, we're going to focus on a lot of Bitcoin security stuff, privacy stuff, long-term mindset planning, strategy. But we're also going to have some like income, the harvest it's called. So the whole course kind of ties Bitcoiners to farmers through that lens. It just makes so much sense to me. And so that's going to be starting next week. I'm going to do a webinar and It's $21 to join right now. And once the course starts, I'm either going to double it or something, but the price is going to go up. So if you're considering joining, I'll share it one more time here. School.com/88 sats. Love to have you in there. We now have over 210 people in there, Bitcoiners from across the world. And we're just getting started. So the course starts next week. It's going to be focused on security, privacy, sovereignty, but also earning money. And there's a bit of a surprise. I'm going to be doing a new component to it, which is going to give Bitcoiners the ability to earn income, buy more sats, and kind of full circle there. So I'm going to have some opportunities within the community. I'll just say that. And so it's going to be for the members, obviously. So if you're somebody with a little bit of free time looking to earn some sats, that's where you want to be. I'll have more news about that next week. But again, we're going to have 21 per month up until that point. Once that starts, it's going to go double, I think it is, because it's a very, very valuable course. And I'm pretty sure when we go to do it next year, it's going to be significantly more expensive. But this is the first one, the first run through it, the first cohort. And so I'm looking for some brave, adventurous, sovereign people out there to join us. So I put in the chat. I'll also put in the pinned comments just in case you're watching this after. But YouTube, it's fun hanging with you today. We'll be back here tomorrow for Thursday show. Rumble, stick around for a sec.